Is Bitcoin already dead? Did crypto fail? If you compare the initial Bitcoin vision to today's reality in the crypto ecosystem, it's hard to say no to either of these questions. It was Bitcoin's dream to redistribute power to individuals. Yet today, while Bitcoin remains defiant, it's influenced by the systems it aimed to challenge. The once untamed crypto world now faces regulation and shifting narratives. Bitcoin's genesis. The original vision? Picture this, January 3, 2009. A mysterious entity named Satoshi Nakamoto mines the very first block of Bitcoin, known as the Genesis block. But this wasn't just any block. Embedded within its code was a powerful message. The Times, January 3, 2009. Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. This wasn't a casual nod to current events. It was a stark critique of the financial system. This message was a clear jab at the traditional banking system, which had just undergone a massive bailout following the 2008 financial crisis. Banks, once seen as unshakable pillars of the economy, were now being rescued by taxpayers. The irony? These were the same institutions that had been deemed too big to fail. Bitcoin emerged as a beacon of hope amidst this turmoil. Its decentralized nature promised a world where financial power wasn't concentrated in the hands of a few megabanks or corporations. Instead, it offered a system where transactions were transparent, trust was established through consensus, and central authority was a thing of the past. The Genesis block wasn't just the birth of a new currency, it was a declaration of intent. Bitcoin was here to challenge the status quo, to offer an alternative to a system that had shown its vulnerabilities all too clearly. It was a call to arms for a financial revolution against centralization and unchecked power. The transformation of Bitcoin. Remember the early days of Bitcoin, when it was the digital Wild West, a frontier of pioneers and cypherpunks. Those were the days when Bitcoin was seen as the antidote to centralized power, a beacon of financial freedom. But as with many revolutions, the landscape began to change. Fast forward to today, and Bitcoin's narrative has taken some unexpected turns. Instead of being the decentralized currency for everyday transactions, it's often hailed as digital gold, a store of value. While this isn't inherently bad, it's a far cry from the vision of a currency that could be used for your morning coffee or to send money across borders without hefty fees. And then there's the elephant in the room, traditional finance. As Bitcoin's value skyrocketed, it caught the eyes of Wall Street and big financial institutions. Suddenly, we saw futures contracts, Bitcoin ETFs, and major banks offering crypto services. The very entities Bitcoin was designed to sidestep were now becoming major players in its ecosystem. This influence of traditional finance has been a double-edged sword. On one hand, it brought legitimacy and a flood of investment. On the other, it introduced elements of the old system into the new, with all its complexities and potential for manipulation. The dream of a decentralized utopia started to blur, overshadowed by the very forces it aimed to challenge. Manipulation in the market. Manipulation. It's a word that investors today are all too familiar with. And while crypto promised a departure from the traditional financial world's pitfalls, it seems some old habits die hard. Enter Operation Choke Point. For those unfamiliar, this initiative, originating in the traditional banking sector, aimed to stifle businesses deemed high risk by pressuring banks to cut off their financial lifelines. While its intent was to curb fraud and money laundering, it also showcased the power that centralized entities wield, potentially stifling legitimate businesses in the process. Now, let's pivot to crypto. As the market matured, big players with deep pockets entered the scene. And with them came whispers of manipulation. Rumors of pump-and-dump schemes, where prices are artificially inflated only to be sold off for profit. Allegations of shadowy figures moving the market with massive trades. And let's not forget the potential for data-driven manipulation, where user behavior is tracked, analyzed, and potentially exploited for gain. But why does this matter? Because it challenges the very essence of what crypto stands for. If Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are to be truly decentralized, they must be free from the undue influence of any single entity, no matter how powerful. The real estate analogy. Imagine for a moment that you're house hunting. You've been saving for years, and you're finally ready to make that big purchase. You've got your eye on a quaint neighborhood, and you're excited to plant your roots. But then, something strange happens. You notice that a single company is buying up multiple homes in the area. Not just one or two, but dozens. And then they purchase one particular house at a price significantly higher than the rest. Suddenly, the entire neighborhood's value skyrockets. That dream home you've been eyeing, its price just shot up, and it's now out of your budget. This isn't a fictional scenario. In the real estate market, tech-driven processes like iBuying are changing the game. Companies harness vast amounts of user data to pinpoint profitable buying opportunities, and in some cases they might strategically overpay for a property, setting a new benchmark for home values in the area. It's a clever strategy, but it's also one that can artificially inflate prices and make homeownership less accessible for the average person. Now, let's relate this back to crypto. Just as in the real estate market, big players in the crypto space have the potential to manipulate market dynamics. They can drive up prices, create artificial demand, or even influence the perception of a particular cryptocurrency's value. And just like in real estate, the average investor can find themselves priced out or caught in a volatile market whirlwind. So while manipulation in crypto may look very different than in real estate, keep in mind crypto for many is just another asset class. Now that traditional finance is in, it's going to be subject to the same problems as any other market. The lesson here, whether it's houses or Bitcoin, when big money moves, it leaves ripples in its wake. Corruption and ties to traditional finance. In the early days of Bitcoin, the crypto community was a tight-knit group of tech enthusiasts, libertarians, and visionaries. They believed in a decentralized financial system, free from the clutches of big banks and traditional finance. But as the saying goes, money changes everything. Fast forward to today, and the landscape looks quite different. As Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have surged in value and mainstream acceptance, they've attracted attention from some of the very entities they sought to bypass. And here's where things get interesting. There are whispers in the crypto alleyways about leaders in the space cozying up to traditional finance moguls. These aren't just casual coffee meetups. We're talking about deep-rooted connections that could influence the direction of the crypto world. For instance, some crypto pioneers have been spotted in closed-door meetings with high-ranking officials from major financial institutions. Others have been linked to influential figures with a history of shaping global financial policies. Now, collaborations in itself aren't a bad thing. They can lead to innovation, growth, and the merging of the best of both worlds. But there's a flip side. With these ties come potential conflicts of interest. Can we truly trust that decisions made at the top echelons of the crypto world aren't in the best interest of the decentralized vision? Or are they swayed by the allure of traditional finance and its promise of wealth and power? The implications are vast. If Bitcoin's trajectory is influenced by these connections, it could stray further from its original purpose. Instead of being the people's currency, it might become just another tool in the arsenal of the financial elite. One relationship that comes to mind is BlackRock's relationship with publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies. We've literally taken the heart and soul of Bitcoin's decentralized identity and put it up for sale on one of the most centralized markets. Under the guise of their mining ETF, BlackRock has amassed large positions in many of these companies. Centralization, the irony of Bitcoin's evolution? Picture this: a revolutionary digital currency emerges, promising to disrupt the traditional financial system. Its core principle? Decentralization. No central authority, no single point of control, just a network powered by its users. That was Bitcoin's promise. But fast forward to today, and we find ourselves at a crossroads. The irony is palpable. Bitcoin, the beacon of decentralization, is now grappling with the very thing it sought to avoid: centralization. How did we get here? Well, as with most things in life, it's complicated. As Bitcoin's popularity soared, it naturally attracted a diverse group of participants. Among them were major players with deep pockets and even deeper connections. These entities began accumulating vast amounts of Bitcoin, setting up large-scale mining operations, and even launching their own crypto exchanges. And with great power comes, well, you know the rest. The influence of these major players is undeniable. Their decisions can sway market sentiments, dictate trends, and even influence protocol changes. It's a far cry from the decentralized utopia many had envisioned. But here's the kicker. This centralization isn't just about control over the Bitcoin network. It's also about the narrative. The stories we hear, the news we read, even the debates we engage in, they're increasingly shaped by a select few. In this twist of fate, Bitcoin's evolution serves as a reminder that ideals, no matter how noble, can be challenged by realities. And as we navigate this crypto journey, it's crucial to remember why we started in the first place and strive to keep that vision alive. Bitcoin's current state, just another asset class? Remember when Bitcoin was the wild child of the financial world, the rebel with a cause, challenging the status quo and promising to usher in a new era of financial freedom? Those were the days. But as we stand here today, there's a growing sentiment that perhaps Bitcoin's rebellious days are behind it. Increasingly, Bitcoin is being seen less as the revolutionary force it once was and more as, well, just another asset class. Financial institutions, once wary of this digital currency, are now offering Bitcoin investment products to their clients. Hedge funds are including it in their portfolios, and even retirement funds are hopping on the Bitcoin bandwagon. Now, don't get me wrong, mainstream adoption is fantastic for Bitcoin's legitimacy and value. But in this process, are we losing sight of what made Bitcoin so special in the first place? The revolutionary aspect of Bitcoin, its potential to democratize finance and give power back to the people, seems to be taking a backseat. Instead, the narrative is shifting towards Bitcoin as a store of value, an inflation hedge, or just another asset to diversify one's portfolio. It's a bittersweet evolution. On one hand, Bitcoin's growing acceptance is a testament to its success. But on the other, one can't help but wonder, is Bitcoin's original vision getting diluted in the process? The role of regulatory bodies. The age-old dance between innovation and regulation. As Bitcoin continues its meteoric rise, it's inevitably caught the attention of the world's regulatory bodies, and at the forefront of this scrutiny, the mighty SEC. The Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, has been keeping a close eye on Bitcoin and the broader crypto space. Their primary concern? Protecting investors and ensuring market integrity. Noble goals indeed. But with these protective measures come challenges for the crypto community. You see, the very nature of Bitcoin, decentralized, borderless, and peer-to-peer, makes it a bit of a square peg in a round hole when it comes to traditional financial regulations. The SEC's attempts to fit Bitcoin into existing regulatory frameworks have led to some, let's call them interesting decisions. Think about the debates around Bitcoin ETF approvals or the classification of certain tokens as securities. These regulatory roadblocks can slow down innovation and deter potential investors, but it's not all doom and gloom. Regulation, when done right, can bring legitimacy to the space and protect consumers from potential pitfalls. The key takeaway? As Bitcoin continues to evolve, it's crucial for the crypto community and regulatory bodies to find common ground. After all, a future where Bitcoin thrives alongside sound regulation? Now, that's a win-win. The original vision of Bitcoin, as a decentralized currency free from the clutches of central authorities, feels somewhat distant now, with major players, regulatory bodies, and traditional finance institutions weaving their influence. The path ahead for Bitcoin is, to say the least, unpredictable. But hey, at least we'll all be rich. If you like this video, please subscribe and give us a like. It really helps our channel. We'll see you in the next upload.